I'm Jamain Hatton. This is The Recap. The Recap is my take of an online podcast that seeks to make English be fun for our English B students. I intend to look at the poem Higue by McWatt today. McWatt is Guyanese. I know I have said in the past that Martin Carter is my favorite Guyanese poet, but McWatt is really fighting Martin Carter for that top spot. I'll just say that. So who's this McWatt really? He's a Guyanese, of course. He writes short stories. He also does some amount of editing. He's an editor. He's an educator. He had lived for some time in Barbados. I think he's still living there. But he says that much of his writing is rooted in the Guyanese landscape. And the Guyanese landscape, really, the Caribbean people can relate to that Guyanese landscape. So he's saying he's writing for a Caribbean type audience. In the mind of this Guyanese, he really wants to bring out the culture of not only Guyanese but Barbadians or Bajans as we might know them as, and the Jamaicans as well. So Oleg really talks about the supernatural, and really it's close to me because I've had experiences with Oleg. I'm not gonna joke. When I was like 6 or so, I had a very vivid memory of an entire situation. I probably can do a story and tell you about that situation, huh? I guess. Tell me if you want to hear my story about being in relation to a, well, not relation, that's a bad word. Jesus Lord. No, not relation. Let me know if you want to hear my story with my encounter with an Oleg. Yeah. When I was like 6. Tell me. Drop a comment to let me know if you want to hear my Oleg experience. So we're looking at the poem Oleg by McWatt. Beautiful, beautiful poem. You think I like this stupidness? Gallivanting all night without my skin, burning myself out like cane fire to frighten the foolish? And for what? A few drops of baby blood? You think I wouldn't rather take my blood seasoned in fat black pudding like everyone else? And don't even talk about the pain of salt and having to bend these old bones down to count 1,000 grains of rice. Only babies didn't smell so nice. And if I could only stop hearing the soft, soft call of that pure blood running in new veins, singing the sweet song of life, tempting an old dry up woman who've been holding her final note for years and years, afraid of the dying hum. And again, if I didn't fly and come to that fresh pulse in the middle of the night, how would you, mother, name your ancient dread? And who to blame for the murder inside your head? Believe me, as long as it have women giving birth, a poor old like me can never dead. She's defensive, and then it shows that she's very sensitive. So it's going all over the place. But it starts with defensive, and then at one point she's satisfied. And at one point she also says that she will live forever, and she confesses that she is quite pleased with the way she's living at some point, right? So let's try and investigate the poem to have a better understanding. You think I like this stupidness, and if stupidness doesn't tell you that it's a Guyanese poet, it'll definitely, nothing else will tell you that the Guyanese poet is McWatt. But that's typical Guyanese. You think I like stupidness? You like stupidness now. You like stupidness. That's how Guyanese speak, right? And gallivanting as well, another Guyanese word. So what does this really mean? Stupidness means that she's somewhat frustrated, lack of self control, frustration. I like the word frustration. So yeah, let's say frustration. You think I like frustration? You think I like this scorn? Gallivanting. Gallivanting means she's busy, busy all night. All night she's going without her skin. So okay, let me explain the mythology. And I'm saying mythology here. It's really not a myth, but this is what they say. I have never been a Hulaik and I don't intend to be a Hulaik and nobody I know is a Hulaik, so I can't tell you the personal experience with a Hulaik as in to tell you what they actually do. But it is rumored what they actually do. It goes by saying before they go to hunt someone or hunt a baby, they would take off their skin. Right, this is what she's alluding to there. Without my skin. So what normally happens, they will take off their skin and then they go hunt. And how they go hunt, they basically form a big ball of fire. So that's what she's referring to here. Burning myself out like cane fire. So it's a simile, of course, and I have a nice description there on the right. You can read that there. But remember, she sheds her skin before she goes hunt, and before she goes to hunt, and she forms a ball of fire, and that's how she goes. And I remember when I was a child, I saw flames of balls of fire in the house, and well, let me not continue with that. I can talk about that story another time. And it tells us you think I frighten the foolish. So she's actually saying what? You think I'm doing all of that just to frighten people? No, no, frighten. That's what Guyanese say. Frighten people. No, she's saying no. Why? Why would I do that for a few drops of baby blood? She's saying, you know what? That's inconvenient to me. Why am I gonna put myself through all that stress for a little bit of blood? You understand? That's how she's seeing it. So she's trying to paint with these question marks, with these rhetorical questions. She's trying to paint the picture for us that she's somewhat inconvenienced by being a whole like. And I don't know how popular this is in the Caribbean, but she talks about black pudding. Now, black pudding is it's like a dish. You can Google it. You can see a picture of it. It's a dish that has rice, and it's like a cook up kind of or a one pot kind of rice. But in this rice, there's blood. The blood mixed in the rice, blood from animals, and it's really delicious to be honest. And so she's saying, you think I would do all this drama, go in this, shed my skin, put on, go into this cane fire or this burning light just for a few drops of baby blood? And she's defending herself here and say, you know what? If I was a whole if I was really a whole I would just like my blood in my black pudding. She's defending herself. She's saying probably I'm not a whole She's and that's the truth. The thing is, a whole would never confess that they're a whole So this is what she's saying here, and it's brilliantly summed up by McWatt. And it's saying what? And don't even talk. So they say when whole comes and you catch the whole in the act, if you throw salt on them, it will burn them to death. And it also talks about if the whole egg happens to come, you can throw throw rice grains on the ground. And before they leave, there is a compulsion that they have to count the grains of rice on the floor. And when they count the rice, you will take your broom and you will beat them to death. Right? This is the supernatural. That's what they said. That's I don't want to say a myth, but that is what is said. I don't know how popular it is in the Caribbean, but tell me how you feel about that statement there. So they're just explaining to us there what the inconvenience of being a whole is like, the things that the whole would have to go through, and so on, like that. So she's saying all of that pain she will have to go through, and then she's old and she got to bend those old bones to count rice if somebody throw rice on the ground. Yes. This poem can appeal to Caribbean people. I don't know how much it is, how much of it actually appeals to you, how much you've heard of whole eggs, but I can talk about this. The idea of throwing rice on the ground or the idea of throwing salt on the oleg is just to keep the oleg away from sucking the baby. So who's the oleg? A person who basically feeds on the blood of these babies, right? So newborn babies, they will suck the babies. There's also some amount of talks that oleg actually suck other old people. Well, we're not too sure about that. But yeah, they would suck the fresh blood, the youth out of these babies. And for us to prevent that from happening, we would give them rice to count. And obviously, there would be so much rice on the ground before the. Okay, so when you get a baby, what we would do is to every night make sure there's rice in front of the door or rice by the window on the ground so they would keep them preoccupied away from counting the baby. It's like a compulsion, they have to count the rice before they move on. And if the sun rises or the sun is about to rise and they're still there, they will have to go away because of course people can't see them, right? So we'll talk about that another time probably. But if only babies didn't smell so nice. So she's saying what? You know what? I am a whole egg because babies smell really good and I can't stop. I can't help myself. So she's emphasizing the dependence, or you can even say the addiction to this fresh blood, right? And if I could only stop hearing the soft, soft call. So she's saying that it's actually blood running through that new vein. It's calling her. And it's like a compulsion. It's a compulsion or an addiction. We can't help ourselves. We just have to do it. That is what she's explaining. She's explaining that hearing the blood in these new veins is a compulsion that's calling her to come and dive into it. All right, so she's saying it's tempting this old dry up woman. So it's telling us that she's old. And why is she still alive? Because it's the blood that keeps her going. Yeah, it's a supernatural. This is also all the stories we've heard growing up, or some of us have really experienced growing up. Holding her final note for years and years. Why is she going on and on and on? Because they're saying she's continuing to live because of that fresh blood that she occasionally gets. Holding her dying hum. So that's telling us again she's preventing death, or she's a cheating life by regaining strength or vigor from new veins or from the blood of newborns. All right. Beautiful. If you have never experienced the beauty of literature, this here is just telling us what it is. Uh, then again, if I didn't fly and come to this fresh pulse in the middle of the night, what she's saying, fly, of course, all legs fly. They fly in balls of fire. If she didn't fly and come to that pulse at the middle of the night, that's when they do their stuff, at the middle of the night, midnight, around 12 a.m. and so on. Good. So if she didn't come, she's saying, who would the mother blame for that ancient dread? Who would the mother blame? Who would the mother blame? So this is just brilliant. I hope you can sense my excitement. So what are they talking about there really? When a mother, for us a first time mother, she has to wake up 2 o'clock, the baby crying, 1 o'clock, the baby crying, 12 o'clock, the baby crying. You want to sleep and you just have to go to feed this child. You just feed the child, you gotta go again. The baby poop, you gotta clean the child. The baby pee, you gotta clean the child again. Baby want to play at that hour in the morning. So it's trying to show us that the mother might very well be frustrated. The mother might very well want to smother that little crying brat. Right? The mother might want to kill that child because of all of that, stress of having that child. But the poet is trying to show us that envy that a mother might feel for that young life, and I'm saying some mother, it might be, that's what they call, you will research, I want to talk about it just now. Yeah, but the fact that the mother is resenting or might not be appreciative of all that she has to do for that child at that point, she would want to blame someone, or she might just picture herself killing that child, right? Or wishing for that child to die. Just so that in a blink of a second, she doesn't really mean it too harshly, or she might just say, "I shouldn't get you," and she carry on. But they're trying to show us that this whole lie, if the Oleg was not around, there would have been no one else to blame the death of that child on. You get the idea? I'm saying, I'll go again. The mother would not have anyone to blame the death of that baby on if the Oleg was not around. So she's using projection. She's saying that the mother wants this child dead because it's annoying. At the middle of the night, you're screaming and you're crying and you would not sleep, you would not shut up. So for a frightening second, I wish you were dead. I wish you didn't exist. So they're showing us that if the whole lie was not present for the mother to blame the death of that child on, there would have been no one. And the mother might have been caught in her lies, her evilness. Right? So they're trying to show us that really the mother is briefly having one of those moments, postpartum depression. So she wants to project that depression onto someone else, the cause of that death of that infant on someone else, right? So it says next, for the murder inside of your head, and it goes on to talk about as long as it have women. Of course, the English is bad, but that is not what poetry is about. Poetry is about brilliantly summing up cultures. Women giving birth, poor old like me can never dare. She's confessing that for two reasons. Mothers would further tell that whole legs exists. Why? Because she doesn't want anyone to think that she's evil, or that she resents the life of the child. So she's projecting it onto someone else. And the thing is about that is brilliant because it tells that when we ourselves, when we can't own up to what we are experiencing or what we are thinking, we blame someone else for our downfall, or we blame someone else for our sin. When we can't own up to our own situation, we blame that on someone else. We project that on someone else. That's what's going on there. That's for one. That's one reason why she will never die. And the other reason is that the life of the new blood in new veins is what's gonna keep her living on and on and on. So one, that she is constantly being fed with blood, and two, the lie that the mother feels, briefly or not, is going to fuel the existence of the Oleg. So, in other words, the mother is making tales, or making up myths to say that the baby died as a result of a supernatural being and not because of my negligence. Projection. While recapping, we can compare this poem under the theme Supernatural. Any other poem that speaks to this theme, we can compare this poem Oleg to. And let's recap the poem. We see the story of a Oleg, or Oleg being mentioned. We also see that a bit of psychology is given to us by McWatt, where he brilliantly shows that maybe mothers have evil thoughts of secretly resenting their child or their babies, but instead of owning up to those thoughts, they simply blame Oleg. And he's saying murder inside your head to show us that maybe they're thinking about it, and just as they're thinking about it, they don't want to claim responsibility for the thoughts that might lead to the death, or they making sick of a child. So they find someone to blame, and that's telling us a very important lesson, really, because it tells us when we don't like to it tells us that sometimes we don't like to admit certain things about ourselves, so we blame someone else. When we don't like to admit some things about ourselves, we find someone else to blame. And that is what's going on here. So that bit of psychology is referred to there, and the blame of the death or the sickening of that child goes solely on Oleg. That's all the time we have. Love to hear from you. I love to hear from you. Go ahead and give me a comment. Tell me what you think of the review. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you agree with, what you disagree with. That's what literature is about. That's what makes literature fun, alright? Go ahead and like this though. Subscribe so you can get updates on future postings. Goodbye.